Let's talk about this Ole Miss Miami Hurricanes college football playoff semifinal. And the topic of this particular video is to show you the defenses that Ole Miss has played against in comparison to the defense that they are going to see on Thursday night when they take the field against the Miami Hurricanes. I find what I'm hearing in national media already to be incredibly insane, where I've heard a bunch of people picking Ole Miss to win, and now it's going to be Trinidad Chambliss who is the guy that will finally be able to figure out the Miami Hurricanes defense and be the one mobile quarterback that's actually able to do something with his legs when everybody else has failed. And we're going to talk about that right here. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I am your host, Rudy Rodriguez. Show. I hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. Leave your comments, man. We are, boy, we are close. We're only a few days out. Shout out to the sponsor of our show, Natalie Lopez, attorney at law. When life hits hard, the law firm of Natalie Lopez hits back harder. She practices in criminal defense and family law. You can reach her at 954-888-8833. That's 954-888-8833. And you can also follow her on Instagram at Nat, N-A-T. That's N-A-T.guilty. N-A-T.guilty. Natalie will fight for you. Give her a call. She covers the entire state of Florida. And Natalie, thank you for your continued support of our show. Let's jump in, man. No point like the present to talk about this, right? Trinidad Chambliss, man. Yo, kid's balling. Kid's been balling. Ferris State Division II national champion. Comes in as the backup to Austin Simmons. Austin Simmons gets hurt against Kentucky in a game that, I'll be real, I watched. Ole Miss did not look very impressive. In fact, they trailed early on in that game. Did not look good against a bad Kentucky team. Beat them 30-23, but did not look good. Now, Austin Simmons got hurt in that game, but he didn't leave the game. It just was determined he couldn't play the next game. And then Trinidad Chambliss took over, and from that point on, he was the starting quarterback. Austin Simmons never got the job back, as Trinidad Chambliss played great. Not here to dismiss the success of Trinidad Chambliss. I don't do that. I think by now y'all realize I don't do that. I'm not one of these all these podcasts that take shits on the other team that we're playing. Ohio State did that to us. A&M did that to us. Notre Dame's done that to us. I'm not doing that. Trinidad Chambliss is a damn good player, man. He's a solid football player, very athletic. He's very, very similar to Marcel Reed. I mean, I'm just being honest. He's very similar to Marcel Reed. Like, to say anything different, you'd be completely lying to yourself because they are similar in nature. Both athletic quarterbacks, both throw the ball pretty well, but both also have a tendency to miss the easier throws. And I always bring that up because those are the throws that you need to make in big time action. Those are the throws that you need to make in critical situations. And when you look at Trinidad Chambliss and you look at Marcel Reed, and I'm using them as the comparison to each other because both guys can throw darts and both guys can miss throws. And both guys, and while Chambliss only has 3 interceptions on the season, both guys also can run and do a good job of running. But the problem is this: Miami does not allow guys to run. They don't. I even heard a podcast say that Marcel Reed chunked Miami up on the ground. I'm like, bro, he had 27 yards rushing on 15 carries. What are you talking about? He got sacked 7 times. Yes, he had some positive runs, and he had a whole bunch of negative ones too. He had a whole bunch of negative ones. So he had 8 positive ones and he had 7 negative ones. So, because he got sacked 7 times. Now, Marcel Reed is a 6'1", 185 pounds. Comparing him to Trinidad Chambliss. Chambliss is, let me pull up his metrics, his measurables. Trinidad Chambliss is 6'1", 200 pounds. They're very similar in size. Again, he had a great year, and I'm not taking anything away from his year, but I'm going to tell you right now, The schedule of these teams in the SEC, I'm so sick and tired of hearing about. It is completely overhyped. This is who Trinidad Chambliss played against this year, and I'm going to read it out to you: Arkansas, Tulane, LSU, Washington State, Georgia, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Citadel, Florida, Mississippi State, and then Tulane and Georgia again. Now, against Georgia, both times he kind of carved them up. I mean, that's just the truth. He carved them up in both games. Why? Although the first one he wasn't as good as he was in the second one, they had a 35 to 26 lead going into the fourth quarter. 35-26 lead going into the fourth quarter and got outscored 17-0. They fell apart. The second time they didn't fall apart. Although they did fall apart because they blew a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. Just saying. So here you go. You got Chambliss, who's facing this Georgia team. And here's where the comparisons are going to come in, because I've heard people say, oh, Georgia's ferocious defense, blase, blase. Miami is the best defense that Trinidad Chambliss will see all season. I'm not going to waste my breath on anything else. This is the best defense he will see all season. And if he does get the job done, he does find a way to beat Miami, then you know what? All I can do is tip my cap to that young man and say, congratulations, go win the national championship. That's it. And be the first guy to win a Division II national championship, and the next year win the Division I national championship. And that's what I will do, because I am that type of guy. Do I see that happening? No, I do not, because he is no different than the other quarterbacks who are mobile, who are accurate some of the time. He completes 66% of his passes. Marcel Reed completed about 62%. But the teams that he played against this year, Arkansas is terrible. Tulane, they're good for their shit conference, but they didn't belong in the playoffs, and they got crushed twice. LSU, terrible. Washington State, terrible. Oklahoma was solid defensively. Now, in this game, Oklahoma did not stop. Trinidad Chambliss. He threw for 315, although he was not accurate, 24 of 44. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about accuracy. That was one of his lesser games. That's close to just above 50% completion percentage. And he didn't throw any picks. And he didn't get sacked in this game either, actually, believe it or not. He did not get sacked by Oklahoma, which is impressive considering Oklahoma's thing is defense. So not getting sacked, obviously. He got sacked one time. And he did have a strong game. And they won the game in the fourth quarter because they were losing 26-25 going into the fourth. This is not a game that I've watched actually yet, and I will watch it. But what I want to say about the specificities of this all are that Oklahoma's got no offense, and we know this. So if you have zero offense whatsoever, like Oklahoma, it might be tough. And there's no saying that Miami has no offense is not true. Miami has a monster freaking offensive line that's going to pave holes. Okay. And then you got South Carolina, who stinks, Citadel, who stinks, Florida, who in that game against Florida, if you don't recall, they were trailing Florida in the fourth quarter. They were actually losing that game in the fourth quarter. They were down 24-20 going into the fourth quarter. And that is an actual fact. They were down. Where is it? Yeah, they were down 24-20 actually at halftime. No one scored in the third quarter, and they were still down 24-20 going into the fourth. Before winning on their home field, scoring 14 points in the fourth quarter to win the game 34-24. That is the game that I truly want to focus on. And I want to focus on that game specifically because that is a game in which the Florida defense sacked Trinidad Chambliss 5 times. 5 times. He was sacked 3 times in one game, LSU, and 5 times by Florida. Florida, defensively, finished the year with 26 sacks. 5 of their 26 sacks were of Trinidad Chambliss. Florida had 7 fumble recoveries and 10 interceptions. Not a big turnover forcing team, not a big sack team, none of that. And yet Florida got to him 5 times. What does that? And that's a home game for Ole Miss. See, this is the thing that people are ignoring. Ole Miss has had struggles. The Florida game, they struggled. They lost to Georgia. The Washington State game, they won 24-21. I mean, to Washington State. Washington State stinks. They beat LSU 24-19. That game I did watch. Actually, that game I rewatched today, in fact. Brutal. And mind you, this is when LSU was ranked number 4, and they were the fake 4-0 that they were. They were fugazi as hell. Team that couldn't score points all year. I rewatched the game. My God, Garrett Nussmeier, so bad. LSU should have won this game. And this again was a home game for Ole Miss. They won 24-19. Brutal the way LSU lost this game. Just pathetic. Honestly pathetic. Honestly pathetic how LSU lost that game. But nonetheless, Miami is sitting here with an opportunity to play a guy who has been sacked 13 times and got sacked 5 times by the Florida Gators. Texas A&M giving up 10 sacks all year. Miami sacked Marcel Reed 7 times. You want to know what happens when you have these guys that are mobile quarterbacks? They believe in their legs too much at times. Against teams like Miami, they may believe in their legs, that they have to escape. That's not what they need to be doing. What they need to be doing is throwing the ball away. What they need to be doing is throwing quicker passes. Ole Miss does not throw quick passes. You want to know how we know this? Because a lot of their stuff is downfield. You can look at the numbers back it up. 9 yards per average, throw, 9 yards per average per attempt. That's pretty good. That means you're throwing the ball down the field. The fact of the matter is Georgia has no pass rush. And people are asking, well, how Georgia couldn't get to them? Because Georgia has no pass rush. Like, we have to remember this. Georgia, you want to know how many sacks Georgia had this year? This is the best team they played all year. Georgia had 20 sacks total. Georgia forced 13 total turnovers. Yet this was supposed to be the team that was like this big bad demon type team that was supposed to scare people. They don't get to the quarterback. They don't force turnovers. And yet we're sitting here right now and you believe that like Georgia on paper should not beat Ole Miss. On paper should not beat Ole Miss because they don't do enough to beat a team like Ole Miss. That's just being honest. Georgia does not have a 1,000-yard rusher. Georgia does not have a quarterback who threw for 3,000 yards. Georgia has a QB who got sacked 18 times. Georgia, has a defensive line that can't get to the QB. Like, if you look at Georgia's sacks, they have 3.5, 6, 10.5, 11.5, 13.5, 14.5, 16.5. They got 16.5 of their 20 sacks from non-defensive linemen. Their front four does not get pressure. Against a group like that, Trinidad Chambliss should have a fucking field day. He did. And if Miami plays that way and Miami can't get to him, he's going to have a field day. But that's not going to happen. You want to know the difference between Georgia's defense and Miami's defense? If you didn't know, I'll give you some education on it. Miami's defense, 46 sacks to 20 for Georgia. Florida Gators, 26 sacks. 5 of them came against Trinidad Chambliss. Now, Oklahoma only got to him once. They had 45 sacks. But even Oklahoma was a team that did not get front four pressure. They brought tons and tons of blitzes. Go look at where their sacks come from. They're everywhere. You want to know who's got the most sacks on the Miami Hurricanes? You got 19 combined sacks from the bookends. 19 between Mesidor and Bain. 19. Should I repeat that? 19 sacks. And that doesn't even have the TFLs that they also got against the running attack. 19 sacks between those two bookend defensive ends. You add in Ahmad Moten, who I believe that man is going to play. I don't care about what happens. I think he's going to shoot it up with all the painkiller he has to. 4.5 sacks. Marquise Lightfoot, 2.5 sacks. Armando Blunt, 2.5 sacks. So now we got 4.5. So it's 7, 9.5. Then we add in Booker Pickett, 10.5. Let's see if I'm missing anybody. So of their sacks, of the 46 sacks that Miami's got, they got like 30 of them from their defensive line. And they also get sacks from Jacoby Thomas and Keontae Scott. Those guys bring pressure. But the majority of their sacks come from that front four. They got 30 sacks from the front four. Miami's defense, 16 interceptions, 9 fumble recoveries, 25 turnovers. This is a better defense than Georgia's defense. And it's not even really, really close. Outside of yards, it's not close. Miami has a playmaking defense. It's not just a defense that stops you. It's a defense that stops you, hurts you, punks you, turns you over. See, that is one of the other things when people talk about, the Ohio State defense. Very, very good defense, obviously. Very good. You know what Ohio State's defense doesn't do? They only got 35 sacks. They only had 8 interceptions. They only had 7 forced fumbles. So they only forced 15 turnovers. So they don't get to the quarterback as much as Miami. They don't force turnovers like Miami. Yet they held people to less points. Cool. Less yards. Cool. Might they have a better secondary than mine? Maybe. I know who made the biggest play of the game. Miami's defensive back, Keontae Scott. It wasn't Caleb Downs. And so I can show you this stuff in which it's clear as day that this is the best defense that this team is going to see. They've seen nothing like this. Nothing. And even when I look at Oklahoma, like I can look at it 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. They got some defense line front four pressure. Yeah, they got about 25 or 30 from their D line too. Oklahoma does, but they only force 13 turnovers all season. So a team that has this elite defense only forces 13 turnovers. They're not forcing shit. They're not a playmaking defense. Miami's puts incredible pressure on you with their front four, and they also turn your ass over. This is what's happened all season. And now you're seeing it at a level that's even higher than you've seen in the regular season. You're seeing a defense that is peaking right now, that is playing its best football right now, where you're seeing stuff that Corey Heatherman's doing right now. And I'm telling you right now, he's doing stuff right now that they have not done all year. They had lined up they lined up Mesidor and Bain side by side against Ohio State, if I'm not mistaken, where they did a stunt or a twist off each other, and they were both in the backfield because of it. Because you got these two linemen like, oh my God, we got both these motherfuckers in front of us. Are you kidding? They're moving dudes around now. It's not the same. You're seeing different stuff right now. Corey Heatherman's bringing it out of his bag. He's moving these guys around, and they're dogs, man. They're going to play their asses off the entirety of the game. Miami's defense is something that Trinidad Chambliss has not seen. And when I compare them to the defenses of the SEC, don't tell me that he's played great defenses. He hasn't. Oklahoma's got a solid defense. Miami's defense never gave 34 points this year. Miami's defense in regulation never gave up more than 24 points all season. Notre Dame, Louisville. Yeah, we gave up 26 to SMU. That was overtime. Regulation, 24 points. Ole Miss's defense this season, Ole Miss this season, 23 to Kentucky, 35 to Arkansas, 19 to LSU, 21 to Washington State, 43 to Georgia, 26 to Oklahoma, 24 to Florida, 34 to Georgia. They've given up 24 points or more once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times this year. They've given up over 20 once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times this year. Miami's given up over 20 points in regulation 3 times. And they were they actually were 1-2 in those 2 games, believe it or not, as crazy as that is. Fact of the matter is Miami's defense is peaking. And you got guys that are on a mission. And again, I'm not taking anything away from Trinidad Chambliss. I'm telling you that he has not seen the pressure that he's going to see on Thursday, not to mention the fact that his offensive coaches are not there or are halfway there. This can't bode well for this kid. He's a really good player. But I'm not going to sit here and listen to people tell me about how he's going to run circles around Miami's defense with his legs or that he's a better version of Marcel Reed. Stop it. Marcel Reed was a Heisman candidate going into the final week of the season. You don't get to change who the best guy is every goddamn year, every damn week. You don't get to come up with a new guy that's supposed to be the one that does it. Like that's enough already. Yes, he has legs. Yes, he will get some yards out of the backfield. Yes, he will for sure. Being that Miami just played a guy just like that, I think they're pretty prepared for a guy like him. They'll see what he does on film. That offensive line does not sniff the offensive line of Texas A&M. We all know that. Across their front, they're much smaller on both sides of the ball, but we're talking specifically about defense. Miami's defense is going to be difficult for him to deal with. And if Miami's defense looks remotely like it's looked the last 2 games, Miami should win this game pretty comfortably. Ole Miss finds something that these other 2 teams couldn't find, then hey, maybe we're having a different conversation. But if the Miami defense plays at the level it's played the last couple of games and going into that Pittsburgh game, it's going to be a very tall task for Trinidad Chambliss to have a chance. Because while he does have a running game, and I want to talk about the fact that tempo offense they run, they do run tempo offense. That can have a positive or a negative impact. The positive impact is that they just complete passes up and down the field, they score. That's the positive for them. The negative is that if they don't, their defense is 42nd in the country. Their run defense is 67th in the country. So what you're going to see is Miami moving the ball up and down the field. And Miami's going to do that with their big heavies up front, where Mass kicks ass. They're going to run the football. They're going to force Ole Miss to bring people into the box. And then Carson Beck's going to have a field day picking them apart. This team can be scored on rather easily. This team can have the ball moved on them rather easily. I watched the Georgia games. I watched both Georgia games. Defensively, they're not very good. Like, they're not very good. They're mid-tier overall defense. Their run defense stinks. Their pass defense is okay. But if I run the ball down your throat, guess what happens? You bring your defensive backs up, and, well, guess who I got going down the field? I got C.J. Daniels, I got Keelan Marin, I got Malachi Tony making barbecue chicken your ass. And we're playing in Arizona where it probably won't be windy, probably won't be rainy. It's the desert. Probably be pretty good conditions for the Miami Hurricanes and Ole Miss for that matter. It'd be pretty good conditions. But an example you have of how it works against you having tempo offense against a team like Miami specifically. Let's say Miami has the ball. This is just an example. They take the ball down the field. They go 10 plays, 13 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. And don't think that Miami won't do that. Miami just did that against Ohio State multiple times. Let's say they do that. And let's say now Ole Miss gets the ball 7-0. And obviously if Miami kicks off, wins the toss, they're going to kick off. We already know that. And I think that first possession for Ole Miss probably would be their biggest possession because they need to get a lead. If they don't get a lead, they're going to be in trouble. That first possession for them will be critical because if they play from behind, they're going to get smashed. They have to find a way to get the lead on Miami to have a shot. But let's say they get that ball first. They go, let's say Miami gets the ball first, scores, goes 10, 12, 13 plays, 875 yards, touchdown. And then Temple offense comes out and they go 3 plays and out. You've burned off a minute after you just got gashed for 7 minutes. And now you're punting the ball. And now Miami does the exact same damn thing, goes 10, 12 plays, busts your ass for the 70 yards. And again, now it's 14-0, and you've had the ball for a minute. Miami had the ball for 14 minutes of the first quarter. And God forbid that happens a third time in a row where you go 3 and out, or a second time in a row where you go 3 and out on your tempo. And now Miami gets the ball again and does it again. Your running attack is dead. You won't even have a running attack because guess what? You're down 3 touchdowns because you can't stop the run, because your tempo offense has your defense absolutely exhausted. So what I can foresee happening potentially by Ole Miss is that they don't run tempo. But if they don't run tempo, then they're not running their offense. That's the thing about tempo offense against a defense like this. Miami's played tempo offenses all season. They've stuffed them all. Tempo offenses don't do shit against Miami's defense because Miami's defense is based on athleticism, skill, ferocity, tenacity, savage hitting, and they make you remember every hit. The hit that you have in the first quarter will actually pay major dividends in the third quarter. Carnell Tate got lit early in the game for Ohio State. Later in the game, he did not want to get hit again like that. He did not want to get hit again like that. And he alligator armed the hell out of a ball. And Jacoby Thomas still put his helmet right in his sternum and made him feel it again. But that first hit that he ate early on made him not want to get hit like that again. And when you get hit like that, that's what people don't understand. When you get hit the way Miami hits people the way teams used to hit people 15, 20 years ago when we didn't have rules upon rules. But they do it within the rules of the game, which also is very, very impressive with the levels of savagery and tenacity and violence and swarm in which they play. So when you play like that and you're able to not commit penalties doing so, Miami had 0 penalties against Ohio State. I mean, it's unreal. It's 0 penalties. Ohio State only had 2 called. We all know that there was a few more that didn't get called. Fine. But Miami had 0 called penalties on them the whole game. Brother, if Miami plays clean like that, I don't expect Miami to go 0 penalties again. But if Miami plays clean where there's 2, 3 penalties, bro, obviously always those pre-snap ones always are the ones that are the most difficult to deal with the offensive line and which puts you behind the sticks. But yo, man, we've seen now Carson Beck now sticking his helmet into it. He's going to give his life for this, bro. He's giving his life for this. Like he was willing to get hurt he wants to win. And his running plays show you he wants to win. Ruben Bain, this guy knows where the football is all the time. Akeem Mesdor knows where the football is all the time. Trinidad Chambliss ain't seen nothing like this. And again, I am not dismissing Trinidad Chambliss. I'm going to repeat that. But I know who they've played, I know who he's played, and I know what Miami does. Miami is the best defense they will have ever seen this season. And Miami's ferocity, swarming, violent hitting scares the crap out of people on the other side. They got some solid wide receivers. But these receivers are not really any different than the guys at Texas A&M. 57 catches, 50 catches, 43 catches. They just happen to have 3 of them. They have a good tight end with 36 catches. They got 4 receivers that actually have at least 39 catches. They do have weapons, and he does throw the football. They throw the ball a lot. They throw it a lot. He's played 11 games. What are they? They're 13-1. He's played 12 games. How many? He's throwing the ball in 12 games. I mean, he's throwing the ball 34 times a game. That's a good amount. And Kawan Lacey at running back, that is the guy they got to establish. If they don't establish him, and he's had some big-time games this year, but Miami has also done a hell of a job in stopping the run. He's a 5'11", 200-pound back. transfer in from Missouri. Did nothing at Missouri this year. He's been their starting running back. He's got 1,464 yards, 23 touchdowns. Very impressive back. But I'm telling you right now, you make this a physical experience, and they're gonna see something they've never seen before. So I just wanted to bring that out here in this particular video to show you the actual data and the facts behind it. He's been sacked 5 times by the Florida Gators, who can't sack anybody. And he hasn't played a defense. The 2 Georgia games, Miami's got more than double the sacks that Georgia has. More than double. The defensive line pressure that Miami will bring is going to be something that he's not seen. And I don't know how you replicate it in practice unless you allow them to play with 13 guys on defense in practice. And that's what I would do. If I'm trying to replicate the Miami Hurricanes defense, I'm putting 13 guys out there because that's what it feels like you're playing against. But you let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell, and we will have more content for the next couple of days going into this game, man. Hurricanes Unfiltered live, 9 p.m. Monday night. Make sure you're here. Appreciate y'all as always. And once again, this is Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on now.